Welcome back to April 28th, 1998. We're live from Hampton, Virginia and Norfolk, Virginia for some of this episode of Raw. It is the DX invasion of WCW. Does it age as well as we remember? Is this show a little bit of a stinker? We'll get into all that and more. I'm Jimmy Allen. That's the good Dr. Mike Sweeney. This is Analyze the Attitude. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us an oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Down in the comments below. And Mike, we start this one off right away before the fireworks even start. DX is at the Scope in Norfolk, and Nitro is a little bit of a hodgepodge in this episode. They're 17 miles away from each other. This was the ideal time for DX to capitalize on this. This is the worst rated Nitro of the Monday Night Wars because of the NBA playoffs. Nitro airs on Monday and Tuesday night, and the show is just jumbled all around. It's pre-recorded. DX is live outside of the Norfolk Scope to open this up, and Triple H says they're going to blow the competition out of the water and beat old WCW wrestling. And this is your mission if you choose to accept it. He turns. The DX Army is standing there. Road Dogg's got branches in his helmet. Billy Gunn's got a bazooka between his legs, and China stoic as always. And X-Pac just looks happy to be there. But he says this will be all for one and one for all, as they all respond, as the Three Musketeers would say. So suck it, WCW. And then they hop on the back of the tank, which was actually a Jeep, which nobody on the internet ever reminds us of. And then for some or other reason, as they're driving away, we get a zoom in on a sign that says no swimming, no fishing, and no crabbing as they pull off and head to the Norfolk Scope. This was great, man. I mean, this is aged really well. It's still funny. And this at the time was big news because, listen, Eric Bischoff was giving away WWF's results for almost over 2 years up until this point. The WWF hasn't exactly responded, and this, as we learned to find out, is the first shot in the Monday Night War.
Very much so, and this is iconic. It's replayed through all of history every time they do any sort of recanting of the Attitude Era. This is always talked about. It's always shown. And this is huge, like you just said. They really haven't retaliated. They had the Billionaire Ted skit, which was Mania 13. So yeah. They haven't really said anything in a long time, and they're coming out big by just planning on showing up at their doorstep here.
Yeah, and they do. They drive all the way up to the doorstep. We're going to get into that. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on why I don't think WCW opened up the door, and I think it might have been the right answer. There's some alternate worlds where some other things happen. We're going to break that down as well. But we open up the actual proper show with Owen Hart and Ken Shamrock taking on The Rock and Mark Henry. And we talked about how awkward it's been for Owen Hart. I mean, he's just been buried by Triple H and DX since the Montreal screw job. And he's teaming up with Ken Shamrock here. And remember, last night it was Unforgiven and the Enough is Enough, and it's time for a change promo. And we get this tag team matchup here where they start off with Owen and the Rock being in the ring, but Ken Shamrock wants in. He wants a piece of the Rock. Remember, he's technically beaten the Rock for the Intercontinental Championship twice here. So it makes sense. So Owen makes the tag, brings in Ken Shamrock. They do a double high five. And Owen Hart kicks Ken Shamrock in the nuts and joins the Nation of Domination. This felt weird then. It feels even more strange in 2026.
Right. And we'll get to it in a few months when the DX infamously does the Nation of Domination dress
parody.
Up. Parody. There we go. And Owen Hart's in there, and I was like, when did they link up? I forgot. And this is it. And it is very awkward. The only bright spot I saw on it is Owen Hart gave a smile when he got on the top turnbuckle. I think he genuinely looked happy to finally be a heel again.
Yeah.
But other than that, like you said, awkward. And and that's the theme of tonight's show, honestly, awkward and all over the place.
They're certainly just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks. I mean, they've got their horse that's leading out of the stable with Steve Austin. They've got to find a cast of characters that come along with them. We know that eventually happens, but the road to get there is very strange. But Owen Hart was a huge face at this time, and you got to wonder, like, they've got their top baby face. The top heel really isn't asserted yet, and we're going to get into that later in the show. But Owen kind of does everything he can to pull out the heel card here. I mean, they beat down Ken Shamrock, and then Steve Blackman and Farouk run down, and they get they get beat down as well. And then Owen puts a chair around Ken Shamrock's ankle, and as you mentioned, gets up on the middle rope and gives a smile and jumps on the chair. And he does it twice, and trying to break Ken Shamrock's ankle, and then he bites Ken Shamrock's forehead and draws blood, and we get that awesome visual of Owen Hart heading back up the rampway as a new member of the Nation of Domination with kind of a vampire-esque grin on his face as the WWF officials come up and send him up the ramp. But this weird thing happens where Jim Ross just knows that Owen Hart is now the co-leader of the Nation of Domination. I don't know how he got that information on his desk, but I guess that's and the reason there's about 50 million reasons it's so weird, but the strangest reason for me is The Rock has since taken over the Nation Domination, noted himself as the ruler of the nation. So to now have a co-leader kind of undoes everything they've done up into this point.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, did they really even know what they were doing? It's like, I don't know. It's
Fair.
like, no, let's insert them with The Rock. Let's, like you said, see what sticks. We do know Russo is behind the scenes there, and that's kind of been his MO, is throw a lot at the board and see what sticks. But Owen, to his credit, he was told what to do, and he went out there and he did the best. He looked crazy out there. Shamrock was a very weird one for him to turn on. Like, there wasn't really even any tension leading up to it.
Well, it's not the second guy in a row. Like,
yeah,
Mark Henry turned on Ken Shamrock, then Owen Hart turned on Ken Shamrock. Like, is Ken Shamrock the Sting of WWF in this
right. Watch your back from Steve Blackman there, Shamrock.
Yeah. We're on the heels of Unforgiven 1998. That's just joining us. For anybody that's just joining us for the first time, Stone Cold Steve Austin gave himself his own count over Dude Love in the main event last night to retain the WWF Championship in his very first ever title defense. And then Dude Love comes out here and he's flanked by two stripper-esque blondes who have Dude Love fake tattoos on them, and he's got the tie-dye on. And he comes out and he says that he understands why fans cheer for Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's one tough cookie, but he chewed that tough cookie up and spit it out last night. He said he had nothing left in the tank, so these two chicks got no action last night. Really pushing the envelope there, Mick. He said that Austin took the easy way out. When the ref was down, he took a cheap shot on his Vince McMahon man, and that leaves the WWF three options. They can either bring back Shawn Michaels to find out who the real chick magnet is. The WWF could hold a tournament to determine who the number one contender is, or they can just fire Stone Cold Steve Austin and hand Foley the belt now. And then that's the end of the Love Shack. And the commentators tell us there's been no announcement made in regards to what happened last night at Unforgiven. Anybody that didn't watch the rewatch with us or haven't seen the pay-per-view, Stone Cold Steve Austin hit Vince McMahon in the head with a chair at the end of the pay-per-view, and they had to cart him up the ramp. So will Vince McMahon fire Stone Cold Steve Austin? Is Mick Foley the WWF champion? We have no answers to that as of 45 minutes into this first episode of Raw.
Right, but then that's okay, but because they're drawing it out because Vince and Austin are what's drawing in all the ratings and everything here. So what we're seeing throughout this show is that they don't know what they want to do with a lot of people. So let's just focus on our main stories here, which is mainly Vince and Austin with a little bit of Foley, Undertaker, and Kane. And, let's throw some Degeneration X in there. But everything else is starting to feel, I don't know, just out of place, and just they're trying to figure it out.
We come back from commercial break, and DX is at the Scope. They're at the building that Monday Nitro is at. And for anybody that's a part of the younger generation that's just reliving the Attitude Era for the first time, alongside us, like, you can't put into words how big of a deal this was. I mean, this has been a 2.5-year war where Vince McMahon has basically had to take the water coolers out of Titan Towers at one time because of how bad his ratings were, and getting a ton of feedback from his business partners and people who helped make his company go about the success Monday Nitro has had, completely changing his business model and going all in on the Jerry Springer, Vince Russo-esque things that they're doing. and he's been getting his tail kicked in by the guys from down south, and he sends 5 of his wrestlers to show up at the building that they're actively filming Nitro at. Keep in mind, pre-recorded, but they're actively in the middle of filming this on the back of a Jeep with a cannon attached to it, and they're chanting to have their friends let go. They're running up to people and asking if they got their tickets for free, in which people are responding with, "Hell yes, I got my tickets for free. WCW sucks." And Triple H says, "We're going to fire the first shot in the Monday Night Wars." And then just smoke rolls out of the cannon. There's not an actual shot. It's just like a puff of smoke that appears out of the front of this cannon. But I mean, this is cutting edge stuff. I mean, even in today's world, this is real. In hindsight, the guy in the front of this cannon who's making penis jokes with a bullhorn is now running the company.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
how stoked would you have been even just going to a WCW show and then, oh my God, there's WWF guys here with us. It's like,
right, like they're not surrounded by security guards. They're like walking up to fans with this bullhorn. This is pretty cool stuff, man.
right. And you're not going to see that nowadays. You're not going to have WWE guys going to AEW shows and stuff like that. I mean, it's just there was more at stake and less to lose and everything to gain at this point. And I wonder if there was an era of like confidence really building with Vince, because I don't know if they would have tried this move a year prior.
Not at all. Yeah. I mean, he was almost hesitant to do the Billionaire Ted stuff.
Right.
It had to be talked into it. So now to send a tank up to the front door of the Norfolk Scope with your wrestlers on it, that's a big jump. But Triple H says that they confront a female fan and ask if WCW sucks. And unsolicited, at least on camera, it looked like she said, "Yes, WCW sucks, and DX rules the wrestling world." And Triple H makes the announcement, DX now rules the wrestling world. And I mean, this is a theme that's going to go through the rest of the night ish. We'll get into that too. But we go to commercial break. We come back, and Terry Funk and Too Cold Scorpio, who've been a Strange Bedfellows tag team for the last couple of weeks, are taking on the Headbangers here in what is announced to be a #1 contenders match for the WWF Tag Team Championships. And Mike, it just the tag team division at this time just feels kind of stale outside of the champions.
Yeah, I mean, and there is certain tag teams out there that are legit tag teams, but they're not being presented in any serious manner or like any remote of a threat to Billy and Road Dogg here. But
I mean, we've neutered the LOD. The Godwins haven't been seen on TV since they were Southern Justice a couple of months ago.
right.
The Headbangers have basically been the whipping boys of the division. The new Midnight sucks.
I mean, it was entertaining with Funk and Foley, but with Foley taking this new role and
Right.
just trying to shoehorn in Flash Funk for McFoley is kind of an odd one, but
It is. But listen, Scorpio is fantastic. Like, that's the one thing I've taken away from this. Like, Flash Funk was a terrible gimmick, but like what they've let him do over the last couple weeks, and this is no different. I mean, he hits the 450 here and a moonsault at the outside. So does 54-year-old Terry Funk, by the way. But this ends up in a no contest because the official gets knocked down. So this is supposed to be the #1 contenders match, but the Headbangers, we don't even get the memo that's been thrown out because the Headbangers hit the stage dive and then they like go for the pin, and Tim White's like, "No, we've already thrown this out." The team's brawl on the outside, and Thrasher takes this guardrail toss that like moves the guardrail like 12 feet.
yes.
And so I guess we don't, and then we just go to commercial break. So I guess we just don't have a #1 contender for the tag team championships right now.
That guardrail spot made me laugh because there's a fan wearing an Austin 316 shirt, and he's like super into it. And at first glance, is like, is that young Tony Hinchcliffe?
It does kind of look like him. It may have been Tony. If it was you, let us know in our DMs at Analyzing Attitude. We'd love to have you on the show.
There you go.
We go back. And DX is storming through the crowd at the Norfolk Scope. They are walking through people and getting on the back of their tank, and they're at the front door asking if WCW has any more free tickets to give away. And X-Pac just gives a random shout out to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and he says they're POWCWs, so prisoners of war within the company. So please let my people go. Fantastic line.
Yes, and it's very fun, especially at this time. If you knew the insiders, with the clique and everything, that they are real life best friends. And as I believe the next segment that they show of them at the WCW arena. I think Kevin Nash even states on several different interviews and probably on the Click List podcast that he's actually behind the door trying to get the guys to lift it up because he wanted to cross.
Yeah, and that is the next time we see DX.
Yeah.
But we come back to the arena that WWF is broadcasting from, and Vince McMahon is coming to the ring to address what happened last night in the main event. He said he's had to make some tough decisions, and he said that he doesn't believe that Stone Cold Steve Austin was aiming for Dude Love with that steel chair, and they had all the intentions of the world hitting Vince McMahon with that chair in the main event of Unforgiven last night. And I mean, I don't know if I could blame Steve at this point, but Vince has been dealing with a concussion that has not clouded his judgment. And he says, "Will I be firing Stone Cold Steve Austin? Not yet." He said that Austin will defend his title tonight against Goldust, and that there will be a special referee. And he announces Gerald Briscoe as the official special guest referee. And Briscoe makes his way down to the ring, gets in the ring, and says that he will officiate with the time-honored tradition of the WWF. Mr. McMahon. And McMahon says if Austin lays a finger on Gerald Briscoe tonight, that he will fire Stone Cold Steve Austin, and anybody would be a better WWF champion, including Goldust.
Yeah, which that's a stretch, especially with a lot of the stuff that he's been doing in the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but we all know Vince has been attacked by Austin, so obviously anybody is better in his eyes than Stone Cold.
We get a sighting of the Rattlesnake backstage, who just throws a random chalkboard that's in the middle of the walkway. Okay, but here's the moment of the night. We go back to the Norfolk Scope, and DX is riding the Jeep down to the building, to the back of the building, where there's a door open, as you just alluded to a minute ago, where Kevin Nash claims is standing. We get a couple shots of Bruce Pritchard in this shot, which I thought was really interesting, because I mean, he clearly tries to get off camera here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I mean, he's pretty well known backstage producer at this point. But they drive all the way down to the entranceway, and the door starts to shut. The Outlaws start banging on the door, asking for Eric Bischoff, and X-Pac walks up to it and says, "Hey, Eric, it's Sean Waltman. I'm just trying to figure out why you fired me." I'm using his legit real name. This just came across as so authentic, but nobody comes out. But there is that alternate world, Mike, where they do open up that door and Haku is standing there. And I would have loved to see, speaking of Bruce Pritchard, I would love to see Bruce Pritchard's face if they opened up the door and Ming was standing there.
Oh, man, he might have shit his jockeys.
I think all five of them would have, China included.
Oh, man, tongue and death grips for everyone.
Yeah. There's the conversation about, should Eric Bischoff have opened up the door and let them drive the tank down to the ring and put DX in the ring on Nitro and have all the people flip their channel over there. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this, Nitro does a 1.7 rating, the worst rating of the Monday Night Wars, because of the NBA playoffs and because of the inconsistency. If you go back and watch this episode of Nitro, they go from somebody saying that Hulk Hogan's not in the building yet to Hulk Hogan being the next promo, because when they reproduced the show package, they forgot to structure it properly. It is so discombobulated. They're clearly having a difficult enough time running their own show, let alone letting five other wrestlers from the other channel come down to the ring in a tank. Like, I get it, and yes, would it in hindsight been the right idea? If you listen to Eric Bischoff, he didn't even know that DX was even outside till after they had left, allegedly. But it's easy for us to sit here, 20 what would it be, 28 years, 26 years, yeah, 28 years later, and say, yeah, of course he should have done this. Well, of course he should have, but in real time, it's kind of hard to let him come down to the building if you didn't even know they were out there.
Right. I mean, you can't argue with that. I mean, and even if he did know, it's like it's just sprung on you, and who would have thought that these guys would actually show up? And
you got to wonder what the legal ramifications would have been too.
and was this before or after Bischoff gave the challenge to Vince to show up at Nitro?
I believe it was before. I think this was kind of the catalyst to him doing that.
Got it. That makes sense.
We come back, and Jeff Jarrett is taking on Bradshaw. Okay. Club Kamikaze shows up right away and kind of gets this one thrown out. They've been attacking Bradshaw. We haven't been told why. The one difference is tonight there's a guy with the 3 members of Club Kamikaze that we've seen on TV before, and he's wearing a mask and a suit. And Taka Michinoku runs down to make the save, and he goes after the masked man who ends up escaping. Club Kamikaze beats both of the faces down and before they run off. But this is week number 4 of Bradshaw getting left laying by these guys.
Yeah, it's been since the day after Mania. I thought the day after the next pay-per-view that we would have some sort of like idea of what or like reason why they're doing all these run-ins and attacking, but they're doing the long game for some odd reason, and Bradshaw being the key
guy.
target is bizarre and a little off topic, but on Bradshaw, those freaking fans for some reason just love the shit out of him back in '98. They popping every time he comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because they know there's gonna be some stiff shots in a hard-hitting match. I mean, okay,
right.
But Dude Love is backstage and he gets confronted by Kevin Kelly and he said, "This is not how it was supposed to be and not how it was supposed to." He made me wear the tie-dye, and they walk right by Vince McMahon, and Vince doesn't see the camera and says, "Is there a problem here?" And Foley says, "This is not how things were supposed to go down." And Vince demands that they shut the camera off. Very cool moment here because this looked really authentic.
Absolutely, and and Foley doing a great job himself. As he's walking by and then confronting Vince. Excuse me here.
Easy for you to say,
right? Because you saw how he was speaking earlier in the Love Shack with the very hippie-ish lingo that he was trying to convey, and now he's talking like regular old Mick Foley from Long Island, who's pretty pissed off about what was supposed to happen.
So we go to commercial break there. We come back and DX is in the ring. They were just at the Norfolk Scope, and again this is 17 miles away from each other, so not that hard to get back. That's not the weird part. The weird part is they were just at the Norfolk Scope at Nitro. And they don't even mention the fact that they were there. Like, obviously, this is probably being played in the arena, and we've seen it at home. But, like, it doesn't even get talked about in this promo. And this is the very first rendition of Triple H starting off the DX promo with, "Are you ready?"
Yeah.
And this just leads to a non-title match between the Outlaws and the DOA.
Yep.
Now, 3 weeks ago, the Outlaws and DX peed on the DOA's bike. That's not who they faced at the pay-per-view. And we're paying it off here with a non-title match?
Yeah, I hated everything about DX on the show minus the WCW thing because, like, what the hell are we doing here? One, they came out, Triple H, X-Pac, and China came out by themselves, did the Are You Ready promo for the first time. Then the Outlaws come out.
On scooters to make fun of the DOA's bikes.
Which, to your point, they peed on. They haven't even crossed paths with them since that Raw, which was a month ago.
Right.
Why are we even we're not mentioning WCW, which is your hot angle of the night? Yeah, this sucked. Like, terrible.
The other weird part about this is like they were clearly supposed to be baby faces during the WCW stuff.
Yeah.
But now they're heels.
Which later on gets even weirder because it seems more babyfacious.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a nothing match. The DOA do a Twin Magic switch out and get the roll up in the win because obviously the it's a non-title match.
Sorry, I just pictured DOA and the Bella Twins roll.
That's what I was going for. But the New Age Outlaws have beaten the LOD. They've beaten Terry Funk and Mick Foley, and they just got beat by the DOA. Like, who is this for?
I don't know. Like, and they're only a month into being a part of DX. Like, give them the win. Like,
right.
And
you've let them beat everybody else.
I thought they said this was for the titles too. I was like, what the hell? They gave him the DOA. Like, what are we doing here? I
hated everything about this segment.
Yes,
it was not good.
Yes,
we get a weird match next. The Undertaker has not been in a match on Raw since December of '97 at this point. So almost 5 months. And here he is taking on Barry Windham in a 3-minute match. He crushes Windham. He chokeslams him. He tombstones him. Gets the win. Keep in mind, he just lit his brother on fire last night at the very first Inferno match at Unforgiven. Taker grabs the mic and says, "Last night was just the beginning of this war. It's been going on for a year."
And he's beat him twice now.
Right. He said that he can wait an eternity for Kane and Paul Bearer to come out. We go to commercial, so apparently he's not lying. But Paul Bearer and Kane come out, and Paul says it doesn't have to be this way. It wasn't supposed to be this way. And he said the Inferno match was Paul Bearer's idea. And he says that it was supposed to be Taker in the fire, not Kane. Kane was only 3 when his funeral home caught on fire, and Paul Bearer drops this bomb on us. He says, "You don't understand. It was my son whose hand was on fire last night." So I guess Paul Bearer's been banging the Undertaker's mom, and that's the angle we're going with.
Yeah, another spot where I didn't care for a whole lot of it. One, like you said, we haven't had an Undertaker Raw match in 5 months, and we didn't even get mention of it the segment before this happened that he was going to come out and wrestle.
We haven't got it all night.
No promoting, whatever, whatsoever. And then, oh my God, okay. As a younger Sweeney lad, telling people about Undertaker and Kane's father relationships was pretty fun back in the day. Watching it through adult eyes, it's like, I feel like we're jumping the shark here.
This is so bad. Yeah. This has got Vince Russo written all over it.
Yeah.
We cut backstage, and Kevin Kelly's interviewing Goldust, who naturally gets jumped by Mick Foley. And listen, dude Lovelace in some shots here.
Yeah.
And he just keeps yelling that this isn't fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. And then we go back to ringside, and Triple H is just storming to the ring, giving an open challenge to anybody who wants to come out and take him on because the DOA has ruined his buzz. Keep in mind, the Hunter's been 100% sober his entire life.
Yep.
So naturally, Owen Hart walks out here to get his comeuppance with the Nation of Domination, right?
Yeah.
No, that's not what happens. 8-Ball shows up on stage, and it wasn't like Triple H said the first person in the ring gets the shot. But Dan Severn comes out and cuts him in line. And so 8-Ball just stays up on the stage. But Jim Cornette is frantically trying to get one of the most dangerous human beings on the planet to not get involved in a fight with Triple H. Okay. Dan Severn gets in the ring and takes off his suit jacket, takes off his shirt, and Cornette slaps him. And then Dan Severn takes down Jim Cornette and starts choking him out. And then Triple H just leaves. And that's the end of the segment.
I was waffling on my grade on this show until this segment.
This happened. Same exact scenario. Spoiler alert for the end of this episode.
It ain't gonna be a good grade, but like Cornette.
Think about this in kayfabe terms. Like Triple H comes out and is like, "I'll fight anybody," and then fights literally nobody after 2 guys show up to accept the challenge.
Right.
What? What are we doing?
I did laugh at Severn though. He just walks past 8-Ball.
Yeah, like, are you gonna stop me, Mr. Bad Biker Man?
He actually did come off as a badass. Like,
for sure.
If there was a highlight of the segment, that I guess, but Cornette now is with it out of like the 6th guy now in the last 3 months of who we've been trying to get over.
Yeah, Jim Cornette is just trying to get out of Stamford, Connecticut as fast as possible. Clearly,
and then they can't tell if DX is supposed to be heels, faces, badasses, pussies. Like, I don't know.
And then this episode gets even more confusing because, like, our bread is being buttered by Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was all over the pay-per-view last night, who was in attendance for this show. And the one thing we've seen him do tonight is kick a chalkboard.
Yep.
So naturally, we're going to give him a moment in front of the fans before he comes out, right? No, he's backstage with Michael Cole. And Michael Cole is just asking Stone Cold Steve Austin about what Vince McMahon had to say earlier. And Austin says that ever since he became champion, Vince McMahon has been trying to screw him out of it. It doesn't matter if there's a special timekeeper, a special referee, or a special jackass, which is a great line.
That popped me, yeah.
Yeah. But Stone Cold isn't getting screwed out of this championship. So, I mean, I guess we're putting him in front of the crowd on the Titantron. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't want your number 1 guy out in front of the fans tonight.
I will say, though, the promo itself, the intensity behind it, I got some goosebumps. That was a hell of a promo. But yeah, they should have gave him some kind of, like, even on the stage, like get him out there.
You know what was not good? What followed this? Mark Marrow comes out, and he asks if the crowd wants to see his wife, and he seems very cheerful about it, despite what happened last night. YouTube it. It's worth it. They say yes. He says, you know what? So do I. And so he brings Sable out, and Mero congratulates Sable on embarrassing him last night. She says she's not done embarrassing him. She says she only needs 2 weeks to get ready to embarrass him again. And Mark Mero says, are you challenging me to a fight? And Sable says, yes, I am. So it's not bad enough we had her beat Luna. Well, I guess she lost to Luna last night. But like, why do we need to continue this demasculation of Mark Mero for some reason?
I am not sure. I guess that's the plan here. I mean, he had all the potential in the world. His gimmick,
he's got two balls. Let's just cut them both off, I guess.
Yeah. He had, like, I don't know. I would dug it for a little bit, like him, but then they started getting into the abuse angle or domestic abuse angle and all that stuff. And
now we're putting it on TV.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, like we've said over and over, this is the Jerry Springer shit that, you know, it was the times. Talking about it in 2026 is really weird, but at the same time, like I didn't bat an eyelash at this kind of shit back in the day when we were watching it on Raw.
Like, I guess I didn't either, but I was just like not into it. I was so not into it. I don't even remember this. You know what I mean? Like, and I watched every one of these episodes of Raw, and it just left exactly zero impression on me at the time.
Right.
You know, it didn't. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I remember everything about this. I mean, and listen, I want to give the credit where credit is due. Like, yes, Jerry Briscoe is a guest referee here. He is one of the, if not the highlight of this match, man. I loved everything he did in this match.
Oh man, and it's a weird thing to say, but chemistry that he has with the Stooges, in particular with Jerry Briscoe in this match, is just off the charts. And I think he even cracked Austin at the start of the match.
Where he re-explained every wrestling rule ever before this thing started. Yeah, this was fantastic.
And Austin turned and he really quick looks up at the camera, and you see a little smile come over his face.
Just trying to hold it together.
Yes. And speaking of giving flowers, you know, we have Heyman as a perfect hype man for like Lesnar and whoever, all that, and Heenan for Andre and all that. The hype man of the century should go to JR for Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just gives everything when he talks about this man.
Yeah, he is Stone Cold Steve Austin is getting himself over in spades. Jim Ross is doing him a lot of favors.
Yes, I mean he did that with everyone, but there was that little extra oomph with Austin
because he was the guy, and and obviously their friendship's well documented. We don't gotta get into that, but listen, this is the main event time. As we mentioned, Jerry Briscoe comes out, goes over all the rules of this of wrestling, and reminds Austin that if he touches him, he's fired. And that is, we cut to the ramp, and here comes Vince McMahon, who is going to be the special timekeeper for this show, or for this match, excuse me. And there's a couple moments where Goldust gets a cover, and Briscoe is just 1, 2, and then Austin kicks out at like a half of a second, which is almost a 3 count. And Briscoe continues to get in Austin's face throughout all this, daring him to punch him. And, you know, Goldust is getting a couple of clotheslines in here, and there's some really stiff shots. This is a really good match from a hard-hitting standpoint.
Yeah, I especially after the crap we just suffered through for the past hour.
Good point.
This is a breath of fresh air, and you know, these two have good chemistry, and they know each other from WCW. So I mean, like this was a pretty good, and it's nice to see Goldust doing something in this caliber
of substance.
Yes,
for sure. We get the natural Dustin Rhodes versus stunning Steve Austin on the outside of the floor here. And there's this funny moment where Goldust throws Austin into the railing, and this old lady pushes Goldust like a legit fan, and Goldust just kind of backs off. And it gives Austin some room, and it allows Austin to get his comeback in. But Goldust gives the rattlesnake a low blow right in front of the official, and Jerry Briscoe says, "I saw nothing." And then Goldust puts Austin back in the ring and locks in a chin lock, and Vince McMahon acts like he's going to ring the bell at a chin lock, which would have been absolutely hilarious if they'd done that. And I couldn't imagine that Norfolk crowd would have been very happy about that. But Austin ends up building his comeback, and listen, the pop of the night, even more than the stunner, Austin hits a Luthez press here, and like everybody in the building erupts. Like it had been his first offensive move in about 3 minutes, but everybody came out of their seat for that one.
Yeah, and, I remember the Luthez always being a good one. Like that's kind of like just to get the crowd alive a bit, because he just, you know, snatches out of nowhere and just starts throwing the fists.
Well, Goldust pops up. We get the kick and the stunner and the 1-2. Jerry Briscoe gets something in his eye here, and this becomes a long line of guest officials screwing over Steve Austin. But this allows Dude Love to come out, and Austin and Mick Foley brawl to the outside. Jerry Briscoe does not call for the bell, despite another human being attacking the champion. But Austin backdrops Mick Foley, and McMahon goes to grab the belt and tries hitting Austin, but misses and takes out Jerry Briscoe. And Stone Cold Steve Austin does his best Hunter Hearst Helmsley and just leaves with the belt.
Yeah.
So Austin counted his own 1-2-3 last night against Foley. Apparently, he didn't get paid double duty for that, so he wasn't doing it tonight. But Stone Cold Steve Austin still the champ. We don't know who the number one contender is yet again.
He did give Vince a little bird on the way out.
Of course he did. He shot him too. But I mean, I was excited as I was for this episode of Raw, Mike. The DX stuff was great. This was fantastic. And that's about it.
Man, I was all over the place. At the start of the show, I was like, this has got to be an A show. And then as we're watching, I'm like, maybe in the pack. And then at one point, I'm like, F. I'm like, I settled on D+.
Yeah, I went with a C- as well. And we forgot to mention the meat and potatoes of the night was the shot that Jerry Briscoe took because he got hard weighed allegedly, but drew some color, but was super entertaining, and I'm really looking forward to this feud continuing. As we mentioned, Nitro does a 1.72 on this Monday night, while the WWF does the best draw of an episode of the Monday Night War or Raw history with a 5.7 rating. Nitro may not even be on next Monday night. They're still trying to get that figured out over the Turner Broadcast Network. Thunder doesn't air this week either because of the NBA playoffs. So there's a lot, like they're in the middle of this ratings war. The network they're on is not doing them any favors, whether they're at the old WCW.
No, I mean, especially like for that, those are huge numbers. Like, of people watching wrestling. Like,
listen, people would kill in this day and age for a 5.7 on any
absolutely.
TV show.
Anything. Yeah. And it's off the charts right now. But like you said, like this is not the time to be taking like the show off the air for a week because those are precious hours that they need.
We're going to get really more into Mick Foley's battle with his personalities here over the next couple of weeks, and I'm really excited for that aspect of it and like just some of the work he's doing at this time. I know we've given him his flowers a ton on this show, but like, you want to know why Mick Foley is a Hall of Famer? There's a lot of reasons, and for anybody like Ric Flair who writes that he's just an overglorified stuntman, go back and watch his work at this time, man. It is compelling, great television, and I'm really excited for this run up to Survivor Series.
That's very, very, very much so, man. And 98, 99 is low key the years of Mick Foley. I mean,
for sure. He is definitely the unsung hero of the WWF at this time.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to Analyzing Attitude. We are going to give away a free PlayStation 5 at 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to all the new subscribers we added over the weekend. Give us your thoughts on this episode of Raw. Tell us how you would have graded. What was your favorite part about DX invading WCW? This has been Analyzing Attitude this week. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.